I think we all need something that lets us know that the pain is going to end. For me, that was martial arts. There's a saying that goes, pain is temporary, greatness is forever. And martial arts has taught me that the pain, whether physical or mental, isn't going to last forever, but the skills that we learn when we go through the pain will lead us to our place in the world. I'm JoAnna Boston, and this is the story of JoAnna's martial arts.
Back in 1986, I was a member of the first karate team that would have ever gone to the Olympics. We were a Class C sport, and we trained at the Olympic training centers in Colorado Springs. And the next year, as a member of the United States karate team, they voted me, the Olympic Committee, as the Olympic Sportsman of the Year, which is the highest honor you can get as an athlete for winning the most national and international titles. And from there, I continued to train with the United States karate team for about 4 more years, and I retired in 1989, 53 fights, undefeated. So from there, once I retired, I went as under my new coach and sensei as a member of the AKJU Team America. And we traveled to over 35 countries all over the world. I coached these different teams in Europe, all throughout Europe, Greece, all over the world. And then we would fly into Dublin, Ireland, and compete in the Irish Cup every year. So that was my adventure with the Team America, and I still do that today. Over 30 years ago, after I retired on the United States karate team, I wanted to start teaching. So I opened up my own school, and it was in the valley, close to where we are now. And at the same time, I was a hibachi chef. So it was the same type of Japanese terminology. So I would go over there, speak some Japanese language, just as if I was in Japan. Back in 1987, I was in Japan for 3 months, and I trained with their national team and was undefeated, 10 fights. And so, I thought maybe I should go cook at a restaurant where I could continue my Japanese language, and I taught karate 5 days a week. So when I had enough students, 40 plus, I didn't want to cook anymore because cooking takes a long time. So I retired from cooking at that time, and then so I opened up my next school, and I was there for 8 years. And I said, well, that was nice. Now I need to find my own place. So I envisioned, my studio, a blueprint, exactly the way it is, a floor out front, main floor, 2,200 square feet with radiant heat. I put together the changing rooms, the viewing rooms, the bathrooms, my office, the pro shop, the entranceway, where you come into the lobby. All that I visioned exactly as it is. And of course, it happened exactly the way I envisioned it. And, every opportunity I have to improve my school, I do. And now it's one of the best schools in the state. So currently we have over 300 students and, doing the best that we can do. Of course, my title is Hanshi, which means Senior Grandmaster, or a person who has a very deep understanding of the martial arts. My second highest ranking instructor is Rinchi, who's a 6th degree black belt, and he's been with me about 29 years. And he does an amazing job with the kids and the adults, and he's here every night. And then there's my wife, Sensei Tammy, who is a 4th degree black belt, and she runs the front desk and helps teach the preschool program with my son. And then there's my son. Doshi is his title, and he's been training 24 years. Of course, he's been with me 28 years.
So we train 3 different styles here at the dojo. One, we do Shotokan karate. Karate, of course, is Okinawan, derived from Genshin Funakoshi. Means way of the empty hands. So you're learning how to protect yourself with, with just your hands and your feet. We also practice Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. A lot of people are familiar with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is the ground wrestling. But Japanese Jiu-Jitsu involves the stand-up Jiu-Jitsu, escapes, pressure points, lockups, so on and so forth. And then also some of the ground Jiu-Jitsu or newaza. And then also you have Judo, which is something that derived from Jiu-Jitsu. Judo incorporates more of your falling and throwing, so on and so forth. It was meant to kind of lighten Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu involved a lot of bone breaking and violence. Judo kind of softened in that aspect and involved more of the slamming and so on and so forth. So I found the Navy SEALs when I was younger, and that became a big dream of mine. Kind of emulating my dad and being that baddest, most humble, unknown protector you could be. With the Navy, I ended up facing a really bad back injury. I'm not a Navy SEAL. I didn't even come close to making it through the pipeline. But when I had the major back injury, long story short, I got discharged without anything. I kind of I lost everything. I lost my dream. My body was crushed. I was on crutches for a duration of a period. I couldn't lift a 10-pound dumbbell. All throughout my life, when I went through bad spots, teaching karate and the kids were my inspiration and reason to keep going. But, it really didn't hit me until that happened, how much my students meant to me in the long scheme of things. Because when I came back from the Navy, I came back to the dojo, and my students and karate was really the only thing that kept me going.
Get used to being able to just grab it, okay? Flip it up, grab, strike! Underneath!
When I was in the Navy, after my back was snapped, I remember I was in the compartment with all my buds class. I was class 318, and the Master Chief Huyen, he was a SEAL Team 6 guy. He told me to get a count of the room of all of my people, and I was so just, my body was destroyed. Mentally, I wasn't there as I should have been for my team, and I let all of my guys down. And that was a really, really, really hard thing for me to face. And then, of course, the big Navy dropped me anyways from the program and then kicked me out. And I remember one day I was at the dojo, and this is the kind of come full circle what martial arts means to me. But I was up on my loft at in the dojo, where I actually have an inversion table. I was coming up, and one day my back just gave out on me again. I couldn't move. It kind of took me back to how I was when I was in the Navy, and I kind of dropped, fell to the floor. And luckily my phone was with me, so I was able to reach that. I called my parents, who were downstairs in the dojo, and they, I'm like, hey, I need you guys to come upstairs. I can't breathe, I can't move. They came upstairs, tried to get me up. I wasn't able to get up, wasn't able to move, tried to hold myself from the banisters above, nothing. So they just said, I told them to lay me back down. They laid me back on the floor. And I remember my students started coming in. It was about 4:45 that this happened, and classes started at 4. And, about 10 till my students started walking, and I just heard their voices. And then it really hit me. It took me back to that day when I was in the Navy, and I couldn't do anything, and I let everybody down. And that was so selfish and wrong of me to do so, because I do bear the responsibility on that. I think that you have to bear responsibility in your life for things that, are within your control. And some people say that, well, it was your back, you didn't have any option, but your body listens to your mind if you train your mind to be as resilient as you can be. And I learned this that day, because then it hit me, what karate meant to me and what my students meant to me. As I heard their voices coming in, I was just face first, and I thought, if this happened to me, at a random time, and I couldn't protect those kids, or the people in my life that I love and care about, what good am I? And I was like, I need to get up. And through a lot of force, long story short, through a lot of force and pushing my mind, I was able to get to my feet and hobble my way down the stairs. And then I ended up on my back for 3 days, laying in my bed with ice packs on me. And then it really hit me what my why was. My why became my kids. It really became a reality to me that day that my students were my reason to never give up. And it's because a couple things. One, I believe that children are the most pure, innocent beings that there are, and that innocence should be harbored and cherished no matter what. But also, we have to be strong and resilient and teach children how to be that way, to protect that innocence in them. And if I let my body and my mind get in the way of being able to protect that innocence, I wouldn't have been able to forgive myself. So that leads me into, how I got into Kyokushin karate, which is a different type of karate. I got away from the sport karate. It wasn't as heavy hitting for me. It wasn't as real world applicable. Kyokushin means ultimate truth, or what it is, a bare knuckle full contact karate. You try to win by knockout. The only illegal techniques are punches or elbows to the face. Everything else is legal. Knees, kicks to the face, so on and so forth. And I found that in replacement of, my old dream in the SEALs, because it was meant to push my limits and boundaries and really find the ultimate truth within myself, to be able to help the world in the best way that I could. I always had my students there for me, and I always had karate there for me. Karate to me was so much more than just punching and kicking, because it's about the life skills, the confidence, the focus, the discipline, and all those things. And that's what it instilled in me all my life. But what it does is it gives kids and adults all the same a permanent fix in a way. I've noticed that martial arts gives them an outlet and gives them something that nothing else can give them. It gives them a sense of home. It gives them a sense of those life skills that help them endure all the trauma that they've been through, that hurt that innocence that they didn't deserve to have hurt. And for me to be able to give that back to my students and my kids is the most fulfilling thing for me. And that's why martial arts as a whole staple has been just the biggest impact on my life. It saved me from my deepest depressions. It saved me from losing my dream. And in essence, it brought me a greater meaning to love something more than myself on every day. And that was my kids. And that was the only thing that kept me going when I felt like all hope was lost. So, yeah, that's why karate as an umbrella changed my life